Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to create a card with some new items from the Say It With Stamps collection, and we are going to create a Thanksgiving card. We're going to do a little bit of die cutting. We're talking turkey today, and we're going to be using the Say It With Stamps Tom Turkey Layer die set. This looks like a lot of basic shapes, but it creates the most adorable turkey. We're going to use this on our project, along with one of the sentiments in the Say It With Stamps Autumn Word Trio die set. So let's jump in and start by die cutting. So we need to grab our colored cardstock for that. I picked some nice fall colors for my turkey. For my turkey face, in the body, we're going to be using a dark brown in a craft color cardstock, and then for the feathers of our turkey we're going to go full fall colors, and I'm throwing in a teal just because I like the brightness of that. We're going to be using yellow, red, orange, and of course the teal that I just mentioned. So let's do a little bit of die cutting. And to create our turkey, it's very simple. First, we're going to die cut out our feathers. We're going to use this triangle piece, and I think 12 feathers are going to make the perfect, you can do as many layers as you want, but I think 12 is the perfect amount for our turkey today. I'm taking the triangle, and we are going to die cut that out with each one of these colors of cardstock. There's also this little rectangle piece that's kind of at an angle. While I die cut my triangle, we're going to cut out that piece with the same color. We're going to do this 3 times on each one of these colored cardstocks, and those will create our feathers. Now with our brown and our craft color cardstock, we're going to take the circle that's our body. We're going to cut this out twice with our dark brown. We have the wing or the feather or the wing of our turkey. This is going to be die cut out with our craft, along with this oblong piece. This is going to be our turkey face. So we're going to add that to our craft color cardstock also. Now we have some smaller pieces. The feet, while we die cut out our feathers, I'm going to die cut out our feet. It's all one piece, which is really nice. I'm going to die cut that also with our orange cardstock. So 3 of these, and our feet with the orange. And then this little piece here is our gobble. Gobbles are red, so I'll die cut that out along with my feathers. And then we have a little eye that you can cut out. It's a little tiny circle for the eye. And then we also have this little piece, which is the beak. I want my beak to be yellow, so I'll die cut this out with yellow. I'm not going to die cut out the eye. I'm going to use a gem instead of the eye. So that's the only piece we're not going to use. So I have a bit of die cutting to do. When I'm done die cutting, I will be right back. Now I went ahead and die cut everything out. And so now we get to build a turkey. I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. And you don't necessarily need to die cut out 2 of the circles. I did that because I want to sandwich my feathers in between. So I just thought that would look a little bit nicer, but you really don't have to do that. You could just add the feathers behind one of these, which will work just as well. Now what we're going to do is, we have all of our feathers here. This is our foot piece. You can see it's one piece, which makes it really nice. I'm going to put that up in that one. We have here, this is our little gobble. I'll put that with our feet. And then we have our yellow, and then there is a little beak in here. I'm going to put that with the rest of our elements there. Okay. Now before we add our feathers to our circle, the nice thing is you don't necessarily have to use the top pieces, but it really does add a little bit of an abstract look to our turkey. So I die cut out 3 of each color, and now we got to figure out which color we're going to put with each of the triangle pieces. Now is the fun part. We get to add color to each one of our abstract feathers. And for that, I'm going to add a little bit of glue at the very top of each one of the feathers. And then using my jewel tool, just makes things easier, I'm going to put my red, we'll put the red with our yellow. So this rectangle piece will fit right at the top of our triangle here. Almost looks like a pie slice. And we'll do that to all of our yellows. It just lines up beautifully. Next, for our red, let's add our teal. And you can mix and match with any variety of colors that you like. If you want some more browns in here, you can add more browns. That's the beauty of feathers. You can create all different kinds. So our red ones are done. Now for our orange, we are going to add our yellow. Wonderful. And then last but not least, we're going to add our orange to our teal at the very top. So each one of these are different. So all of our feathers are done. Now what we're going to do is take our circle. We're going to add some glue around it. I'm going to kind of make it go halfway. You can see we're going to just go about halfway, and then we get to start by creating a pattern. And I'm just finishing up my last one. And now what I mean by layering, let's see, I'm going to lift this up real fast. What I mean about layering your turkey to create different effects and different looks would be you could add another layer right below it and go all the way around with a second layer. I think that would look really neat. For today's project, we're just going to do one layer though. And we're kind of evenly spacing them all around until I have this little opening on the bottom. Now after we have this done, I'm going to take this piece here, we're going to flip it around, I'm going to use my tape runner, and we're going to adhere this. You can use your glue again if you want to, and I'm going to take my second circle that I cut out, and I'm going to sandwich these two together. It just creates a nice clean look on the back side too. Even though nobody's going to see the back, it just helps secure all of my feathers together. Okay, after we have this, we need to create our body. To do that, it's very easy. And I could actually tuck these little feet to add a little bit of glue. And we're going to tuck our feet in between each of our layers. So they're sandwiched in there too, like so. Hold down, and then we have our side feather. Let's add some foam. Let's add a little bit of dimension by putting a foam square behind here. And then we can put this off to the side. Starting to look like a turkey here. Now the eye that is in here actually pops out. When you die cut it out, you don't have to fuss with placing an eye in there because it's already cut out for you. Now we're going to add a little bit of glue along the right side, and then we're going to pick up our little wattle. At least I think that's what it's called. Make sure when you die cut it, you want to make sure it goes the right way. And before we add the wattle, I do want to add my little beak. The beak is really small. And of course, any color you want to use will work out perfect. But I added my beak. You can see there. And then we can add our wattle right on top. And our wattle will actually help secure our beak. Push that down. And then our turkey is almost done. And there is a die that you can replace the eye for our little face. But I'm not worried about that. We're going to add a gem. I do want to trim down a small piece of foam adhesive so we can put behind our little turkey face. And then I'll just remove the release paper and then we can add him. Right here is a great place. And there is Mr. Tom Turkey. Pretty easy, huh? Now I mentioned the eye. I'm going to be using some black gems for my eye. And of course you could use your colored cardstock for that, but I do like to add a little bit of dimension. And there is Mr. Tom. How fun is that? So cute. Now that we have Mr. Tom Turkey done, we're going to zoom back out and finish up our background for him. Now for my background, let's zoom back out a little bit more. For my background, I'm going to be using the Say It With Stamps Nested A2 Arches. Love this die set. I'm going to use the second from the largest arch, and I'm going to die cut this out with white cardstock. And I'm also going to bring in my number 6 border dies. This is such a nice die set. There is like a zigzag border die that I'm going to be using. I'm going to die cut out a border with some of the same craft cardstock that we used here for our turkey. We'll use that. I do want to go ahead and tape these down. And then for my sentiment, tack that down. Let's make sure it's straight here. Okay, for my sentiment, we are going to use Happy Thanksgiving. I love that they're script and block letters in these sentiments. So I'm going to use the dark brown cardstock to die cut out my sentiment here. While I'm at it, I'm going to bring in another piece of white cardstock. And I'm going to die cut out some clouds with my Say It With Stamps clouds dice. I kept them together, but this is such a nice set. I'm going to die cut out all 5 of my clouds at the same time. So we have a border, a background, and some clouds. I'm going to run these through and I'll be right back. Now that I have everything die cut out, this is my sentiment. Isn't that pretty? I just love that. I love the block with the scripty. And then I have my border with the craft color. And then I also cut out, using the same colors of cardstock in our turkey, 1/4 inch strips. These are 4 1/4 by 1/4 inch strips of the same colored cardstock. I thought we'd create a nice border for the bottom of our arch. Now, I have a plan on attaching my sentiment to some clouds for our background to give it a little bit of dimension. And so we're going to start by adding our cardstock strips to the very bottom, just using some glue to the very bottom of our arch here. I'm going to line it up. And one side's going to overhang, but we can just trim that off. And we'll go with the orange. And we are finishing up. We're going to add our yellow above our orange. And then we are going to top it off with our zigzag that we created with the craft cardstock. Nice fall colors for the bottom of our arch. We have excess overhanging, so I'm going to trim that off. And then I have an A2 panel of the same teal colored cardstock. That's why I didn't add any teal to this. We're going to put this in our background, and I think that's going to work out great. Before we do that, I mentioned adding our clouds. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my clouds and place them on the arch here, where I want them to go, kind of filling in our background. I think that's going to work out really nicely. Now I'm going to take my Happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to put some adhesive behind here. And of course you can use your glue if you wanted, but I think the tape runner is going to work fine. Now I'm going to take this and place this right over my clouds where I position them. Now we can pick up our clouds and we're going to add a little bit of dimension. So we're going to flip over our sentiment and our clouds. Okay, I removed the release paper off of our sentiment here, but before we adhere it to our archway, I do want to add a little bit of color. So I'm going to bring in my craft mat, and then I'm going to be using, I don't think I have a dark enough ink that coordinates with this color, so I'm kind of going to make my own. So I'm going to use a dark blue ink and then a teal colored ink. I'm going to start with my blending brushes, and I'm just going to go around the edges here with my darker blue. I'm hoping that if I mix these two colors together, I can get a darker teal. We'll see. Okay, I think that's going to work out lovely. And I think it came pretty, mixing those two colors came pretty close to this. I guess the camera's really not picking up. Pretty close. Okay. After we have our shading done around our archway, I'm going to, since I already removed the release paper off of my clouds, we're going to replace them. I'm going to go a little towards the top because this is where Tom Turkey's going to go here. But I do want to make sure it's centered. And I like that the clouds are overhanging. I think that looks real playful. Now we're going to flip around our Mr. Tom Turkey. We're going to add some foam adhesive, centering him on the bottom. He's nice and colorful. Let's go ahead and take our background panel. We're going to add some tape behind here, and then we're going to adhere this to our A2 top folding card base. And then for a little added dimension, I'm going to flip around my panel here, and then we're going to add some foam adhesive. I removed the release paper off of my background panel. Now we're going to add this to the front of our card base. We'll center this. Wonderful. And we're going to finish off with a little bit of sparkle. Okay, we have some sparkle on those feathers. And last but not least, I'm going to bring in my white gel pen, and we're going to do a little bit of highlighting. For the most part, our card has got some white on the top, and we need a little bit of white on the bottom. So I'm going to just add a little bit of detail to our bird over here. Okay, I added a few little highlights to our bird feathers also. And then that will finish my card today. I hope you enjoyed my project. I wish you a lovely rest of your week, and have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.